Welcome to the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast. I'm your host, Steve Gill, um, a part of the Fanatical L's network, which is part of the Fans First Sports Network. Victory Monday, another Victory Monday. You can all exhale now. Game's over. Longest game I think I've ever watched that didn't go into overtime. Good Lord, the first half was almost 2 hours. That just adds to being a Browns fan and their frustration, I guess. Got lucky this week. It was again on local TV, so I got to watch it without having to stream illegally. Thank you, Titans, for being on a bye, and thank you to the local CBS channel for showing the Browns Colts. What a game. Let's start with how the team performed overall. The offense is still a mess. You can see glimpses of it working. I don't know whose decision it was to start Deshaun Watson. I didn't like the idea. I kept thinking about the Christmas Day game in Green Bay where Baker Mayfield didn't practice for 2 weeks and he threw 4 interceptions. I have a feeling that if Watson didn't get hurt, he would have broke that record. His passes were terrible. He was not ready to play this game. I'm hearing it was a mutual decision between the player and the coaching staff. No. But I will give Kevin Stefanski credit for realizing early that he just didn't have it and didn't put him back in. That shoulder, it doesn't look like it's healed. We'll get to that a little bit later. I know everybody in Cleveland is yelling and screaming for a quarterback. And as all of you know, I'm a big salary cap guy, but there are ways around it, and we'll talk about that later. Defense. All right, they got gashed. They got gashed for a lot of yardage, but they stopped them when they had to stop them. I'm a little disturbed, second week in a row, late in the game, they give up a touchdown drive. That's not what a number one defense does. However, they finally won the turnover battle. How weird is that? They're dominant the first 5 games and lose the turnover battle. The 6th game, they get gashed for yardage in both the run and the pass, and they win the turnover battle. It's crazy. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Myles Garrett is superhuman. First player to have 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbled, and block a kick in an NFL game. First player ever to do that. Yeah, that's right. Myles Garrett carried that team yesterday. Also, Jordan Elliott, another good game in a row. Myles Garrett wouldn't have gotten that sack in the end zone if Jordan Elliott hadn't sacked Minshew up the middle the previous play. Great game by Jordan Elliott. Secondary, Grant Delpit finally started playing well in the second half. First half, he was out of position most of the game. I don't know what was going on with that. But anyway, Zadarius Smith got his first sack. Congratulations. Finally, I don't have to worry about it anymore, even though I wasn't worried about it. He leads the team in pressure, so I'm not worried about it. Special teams. How about that? We have a kicker. 3 more 50-yard, 7 out of 7 from 50 yards with a career longest of 58. We have a kicker. And just think, going into this season, that's the one thing everybody was whining about. This team is so good. This team's got the offense and the defense. Then we're going to blow it with a kicker. Actually, great signing by Andrew Berry. That was a great trade. He's now a weapon. The Browns can have a kicker who is now a weapon. Also, special teams, very good play again. Just need that offense to come around. Don't know why. PJ Walker is an adequate, but like he said post game, he's never been a backup quarterback. Either he sat or he starts. This is brand new to him, so I'll give him a little credit. I'll give him a little slack on that. But all in all, the Browns are 4-2. They could easily be 6-0 if you really think about it. Maybe 5-1. That Baltimore game they walked right into a buzzsaw with them. But they could also be 2-4. So I will take this. And as for other fans out there who are going, oh, you got lucky 2 weeks in a row because of, referees making bad calls. Have you not paid attention to this team since 1999? The depths of the NFL playbook have been explored by the Cleveland Browns. We're talking getting a key first down in Jacksonville, then running another play to stop the clock, and then the referee saying, no, you can't do that, but the rules say, once you run another play, you can't come back and look at a replay. Dwayne Rudd taking his helmet off. Browns fumbling the ball and Duke Johnson coming out of the pile with it, and the referees give it to Washington anyway. Phantom offensive defensive pass interference. This year, Amari Cooper, not even close to stepping out of bounds, calls him out of bounds. One time a referee flag hit a Browns player in the eye when the referee threw it. So, yes, were they lucky? Kind of. I could see how the referees would call both those calls. The Amari Cooper one, the guy definitely grabbed him. He's a very good route runner. He's not going to, he doesn't make up things. He's a precise route runner, and the guy got juked out and grabbed him. As for the other pass interference, was the ball catchable? No. Is it the job of the referee to watch the arc of the ball? No. It's the job of the referee to watch to make sure that the receiver isn't interfered with. The defensive back clearly grabbed DPJ's arm. Sorry, they're going to call that. And it happened in the end zone. They have to call that. So, yes, they benefited this week. Good. Took them a while to get it in the end zone. Thank God. Kareem Hunt, just run it, man. Run it. Don't try all this fancy stuff. The Utah pass to shuttle pass to David Njoku hits him in the face. But let's talk about some good things that happened. Elijah Moore is back as a wide receiver. Keep him there. That last drive, a little over 2 minutes. That was a key throw and a key catch by Elijah Moore. As you noticed, he had beaten his man down the sideline. Usually when a defense is late in the game and a team is down to 0 or 1 timeouts, you play the sidelines to keep the ball in bounds so clock runs. He got past his guy. He creates separation. So keep him at wide receiver. Another trick play with Marquise Goodwin. Run one once a week with Marquise Goodwin. This was a reverse. It worked. Got him down 1st and goal. Touchdown scored later. Excellent play calling. That last drive was excellent play calling by Kevin Stefanski. I'm going to give him his props. The Watson decision not putting him back in the game. He's matured. In the past, he would have run him back out there, and the Browns probably would have got boat raced out of that Lucas Oil Stadium. So I'm seeing maturity in Kevin Stefanski. Excellent. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about the quarterback position. Right now, the Browns are getting the worst play out of their quarterback room than any other team. They have a QBR of 33.9, passer rating of 61.0. That's terrible. That should last. If this team had an average offense, they are playoff bound. But now they have to decide what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson. I'm sure he's getting an MRI today. If he's not, they should be. They're going to have to make a decision. Do you stick to this week-to-week, day-to-day hope and pray that they're doing right now at the Browns, or do you just bite the bullet and go get a quarterback? PJ Walker's a good quarterback. He should have got the starter reps this week. I was deathly against. I was so against Deshaun Watson playing this game. I would have rested him for another week, gave PJ Walker all the first team snaps, and he probably would have looked a lot better. But next week this week they're going into Seattle, a place that has not been kind to the Cleveland Browns. I think they've won there in their entire history only 3 times. I remember Bill Belichick taking good teams in there and getting their ass handed to them. So this is not a sure win. As a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if the betting line is heavy in the favor of Seattle. I know they just beat a terrible Cardinals team by 14 points and should have won more, but you never know. It's a loud place. I'm sure Pete Carroll is looking at that offensive film that the Colts put up and figuring out ways to beat Jim Schwartz's defense. Now, the one thing I like about Jim Schwartz and his defense is he corrects the mistakes. This was a bugaboo of his previous defense with the Titans and early with the Eagles, that you could run on, that you could get a talented running back could get in the gaps and get big runs. And you saw that. Also, a combination of no Sione Takitaki. I now realize how important Takitaki is at the linebacker position. Tony Fields is a nice special teams player, 3 touchdowns in the last 2 years. So, yeah, nice special teams player, but man, oh man, Takitaki's physicalness is needed in that offense, in that defense to help stop the run. So, quarterback, what do you do? I've heard a lot of fans say Jacoby Brissett. No, thank you. I love Jacoby. He's a career backup. He wins 1, he loses 2. Don't need that. Now they're floating around Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has a no trade clause because he doesn't want to learn a new offense. He might want to come to Cleveland because he's worked with Kevin Stefanski. He already knows the offense. He's going to be paid $6.1 million this year, and he's going to be a free agent next year. So what would it take? It would probably take the Browns' 2nd and 3rd round pick, and they could possibly get Cousins back and maybe a 5th and a 6th. The Browns have already done a trade with the Vikings. They got Zadarius Smith. Their GM worked for the Browns, so he has a very good relation with Andrew Berry. So it's a possibility. Cousins could come in here, play really well, increase his value for free agency next year. It would be a rent thing. I'm fine with that. He's in the last year of his contract, fine. 6.1. It's a lot of money, but right now the Browns are outspending the league in cash, upfront cash. Right now they're spending over $50 million above any other team in the league. That's going to come down and bite them in the butt here in probably 2025 or 2026. But this is a win now situation. That's why Andrew Berry made the trade for the kicker. Everybody said, he's not gonna release Cade York. That's his draft pick. Well, he saw that Cade York would be a liability, so he fixed it. Now we need to fix the quarterback position. If you are unsure about Deshaun Watson, go ahead, get Kirk Cousins, put Deshaun Watson on IR. Let's move on. We'll deal with Deshaun Watson next year. Some good things that happened yesterday. Offensive line. They're playing well 2 weeks in a row. Jed Wills. Again, for him to play well, it's not a very high bar, but he is playing well. You go back and look at that last touchdown by Kareem Hunt. He boxed off the middle of that Colts defense, which created a nice little crease that Nick Harris went through, which I love having Nick Harris as the fullback. So Njoku showed up again. Just throw him the ball, man. He catches everything. Just don't throw it into his face. He should have caught that touchdown pass at the end, but then if you really looked at it, that would have left the Colts with a lot of time. As for the defensive line, like I said, they stopped them when they had to. I'm still concerned about that last touchdown drive. The San Francisco 49ers did the same thing to him late in the game. I think Schwartz will fix all that. Hopefully this isn't a trend that other smart coaches are seeing, something that a weakness, but I'll take it. It's a win. They're 4-2. What else? Secondary played fairly well. Grant, like I said, Grant Delph at the beginning of the game was terrible. You can't let a guy named Gardner Minshew beat you. He had 5 touchdowns, 3 passes, and 2 running. But then again, he turned the ball over 4 times. He did that last week. He turned the ball over 4 times last week. So it's either feast or famine with Gardner Minshew. He almost beat you, Browns. So let's concentrate on Seattle. Let's find out what is truly wrong with Deshaun Watson. Is it just his arm? Is it a mental thing? He's only had 3, the second half versus Washington last year and 3/4 of the game against Tennessee this year. So 5 quarters. He's played well 5 quarters, extremely well in those 5 quarters. But you can't bring up his bank account. $230 million to get a franchise quarterback. Okay. People were saying when they did it, fine, great, let's get him. Because of all the quarterbacks they've had in the past, searching for a franchise quarterback, they finally get one. He gets hurt or he's, get 11-game suspension. It'll all work out. I am a big fan of Deshaun Watson, but I have to admit that if he is truly, truly hurt and he really can't play, you got to go fix the quarterback position. So Andrew Berry, make it happen. Around the AFC North, I will concede that Baltimore is the best team in the AFC North. They totally destroyed Detroit. I get maybe Detroit isn't as good as they're supposed to, but for goodness sakes, Todd Monken has finally turned Lamar Jackson into a quarterback, a drop back quarterback at times, and you gotta tip your hat to him. Pittsburgh got lucky again. But I still stick to my prediction that this will be the first season that Mike Tomlin has a losing record. So they got a big game in Seattle. Like I said, Todd Philcox isn't walking through that door, thank goodness. But it's a tough place to play. They're very loud. Fans are very into it. Pete Carroll is a very good coach. So we'll have to wait and see. It all hinges again on Deshaun Watson. Let's make the decision, make the team better. Either ride with him and make sure he's healthy or put him on IR and get somebody like Kirk Cousins in here. Wouldn't take him long to learn the offense. He already knows Kevin Stefanski's offense. So that's it for today. Enjoy Victory Monday. 4th one this year. I'll take it. This is the first time they've won back-to-back games since week 12 and 13 of last year. So let's move up to Seattle, get a victory, and let's make it 3 in a row. So everybody have a great Victory Monday. My name's Steve Gill. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, which is part of the Fans First Sports Network. I want to thank you for listening, watching, and following. It's because of you that we are here. So thank you, and everybody out there, enjoy Victory.